All right, thank you for your feedback, everybody. For those of you that just joined, just a reminder, my name is Aaron. I'm a customer support representative here at Aplos Software, and today we're going to be taking a look at the standard version of the Aplos program, which is going to consist of the accounting piece as well as the basic contributions piece that we offer. All right, and so without further ado, let's go ahead and get rolling here. So as you can see on the screen in front of you, this home page that you jump to when you first log in is what we call the dashboard area. And so this dashboard area is going to consist of metrics and graphs and alerts that represent the activity going on within your Aplos account. So as you can see towards the top, I have metrics for total cash balance, net income for the year, things that are owed this month, due this month. I also have graphs for my cash balance, an expense breakout graph, and then I can also include a couple others if I like. As far as what I want to see on this home page, if I want to change the metrics and graphs around a little bit, I can come to this little caret icon on the upper right-hand side here. And that's going to take me to the settings section for this page, so I can move the metrics and graphs however I like to. For the graphs, I can select, for the cash balance graph, I can select which accounts I want to show on that graph or which ones I don't. For the rest of the graphs, it's more of just selecting the date range that they're going to be reflecting for. Once you have everything to your liking, then you can go ahead and just click the save option at the top, and that's going to save your changes and then update your dashboard screen. Also, as I mentioned, there are going to be alerts on this dashboard screen as well. So those are going to be over here on the right-hand side of the page. So starting with this first column here for alerts, if you have items such as contributions not linked to the accounting side of the software, or if you have an open bank reconciliation that needs attention, anything such as those items will be alerted for you here in this first alert section. Now, if you utilize the accounts payable and accounts receivable modules that we offer, which I'll cover in a little bit, you'll see alerts for those items as well in their appropriate areas, so accounts payable and accounts receivable. And also on this page, up towards the very top, next to this little person icon, sometimes when you log in, you'll see this little red dot, and sometimes it'll have a number in it as well. What this dot will represent are latest changes in the software. So since you last logged in, if there have been any changes that you need to be notified of, such as if we added a new feature to the software, if we made an improvement on an existing feature, or if we fixed a bug of some type in the software, this area will let you know about all those updates. And so if once you log in, you can click on this dot at any time to review those latest changes. And if you want to learn more about a particular topic, all you have to do is click on the title there, and it'll take you to more details about that topic. All right, the last thing I want to show you on this page is this little privacy switch. So if you want to step away from your desk for a second and you don't want people to see what's on your screen, all you have to do is just check the box for privacy there. That's going to wipe everything from this dashboard screen off the page, so that all that's left is just this resource area. And so none of your metrics or graphs or alerts will be shown here. And then once you're back to your desk, just uncheck that box, and then everything's going to pop right back up for you. All right, so moving along here, so on your main menu, we're going to jump all the way from the dashboard all the way down to the bottom to this settings section next. So the settings area is only going to be available for those who are administrators on the Aplos account. And so only administrators will have access to these next few pages. All right, this first page we have under settings here is the org info page, and this is where you're going to enter in the basic information for your organization. So items such as your organization's name, tax ID number, when your fiscal year starts, address, phone number, etc. If you have a logo, you can also upload that image from this screen as well. And then you can also manage your communication settings from here. And so this communication settings, this is pretty much telling us who the primary contacts are for your organization. So in case we at Aplos need to get in touch with you for whatever reason, you can, such as maybe if you need to update the billing information for your account, or if we just want to send you a monthly newsletter, this will be the area where you let us know who those primary contacts should be. All right, the next page here is the users page, and so this is going to be where you manage who the users are in your Aplos account. If you want to add a new user, all you have to do is click the blue button at the top of the page. That's going to take you to the next screen where you can enter in the details for that new user, such as their first and last name, their email address, and you can also select what type of roles you'd like that user to have. So we do offer a variety of roles, as you can see here, starting with an administrator who has full access to the entire software, going all the way down to some read-only access roles if those are applicable for that user. So once you have the appropriate roles checked off for that user, just set up a temporary password for them that they can change once they log in, and then click Save once you're done. Then if you ever need to update any information for a particular user, all you have to do is come to this screen, click on the name for that user, and then you can update that information from there. All right, next up is the subscription page. And so this is where you're going to manage your Aplos subscription. So in case you need to upgrade or downgrade your account at any time, if you need to update your billing information, things of that nature, this will be the page you come to manage those tasks. All right, and so next up, we're going to take a look at a page that's called the activity log. And so the activity log, this is a pretty neat feature, and what it does is it keeps track of all the different activity that's been going on within your account. So when you come to this screen, you can see on any day at any given time what user or users were logged in and what type of actions they performed while they were in the software. So did they add a new account to your chart of accounts? Did they delete a previously recorded transaction? Did they update some contact information? Anything like that will be listed here for you to review at any point in time in the activity log. Next up here is the file box area. So this is just your basic storage space within the software. We give you 1 gigabyte of storage space within the software. So anything that you want to upload here, such as images or documents of some type, you can go ahead and do so here in this file box area. All right, and the last page here under settings is the partners page. And so we are partnered with a lot of great companies out there. Just to name the ones we're currently partnered with are Bloomerang, Church Community Builder, Continue to Give, Donor Elf, and Gussto Payroll. So if you already have an account with one of these companies, or if you're looking into starting one, you're more than welcome to connect those two programs together so that you can work between both programs a lot smoother. All right, so now we're going to jump into the accounting section, and we're going to talk about how you go about setting things up here. So under accounts, the first page I'm going to take you to is the account list page. And the reason we're coming here first is because this takes us to the chart of accounts page, which is going to be the backbone of the entire accounting piece. This is where you're going to be telling us what your assets are, your liabilities, your equities and funds, your income, and your expenses. So before you do anything else on the accounting side, this is going to be the first step you're going to want to take. All right, and so when you get here, let me go ahead and show you what it would look like to add a new account. So let's say under my income category here, I want to add a new account group as well as a new account. So first I want to set up that group. So under my income category here, I'm going to click this button for add group. I'm going to give that group a title. And so let's title this other income. Click save. And so now under my income category, here's my new group titled other income. Now, when I'm ready to add a new account to that group, all I have to do is click on the plus mark icon next to that title. And that's going to drop down another menu where I can enter in the details for that new account. So when you're entering in accounts in Aplos, you are required to enter in both an account number as well as an account name. If you don't already have a numbering system in place and that you're familiar and comfortable with, we recommend going off of the generally accepted accounting principles. So what that would mean is that your asset accounts would be in the 1000 series, your liabilities would be in the 2000s, equities and funds in the 3000s, income accounts in the 4000s, and expenses in the 5000s and above. Again, those are just recommended values. If you already have a numbering system that you like, then you're more than welcome to continue to use that same numbering system here. But for our example here, let's go ahead and call this 4050, and we're going to title this miscellaneous income. All right, once the required fields are filled out, you can also go ahead and fill in these optional fields on the side as well. This first one for fund, this allows you to assign a particular fund to this account. So this way, when you're recording transactions later on, whenever you select this particular account, the fund you've selected will automatically fill in for you, so you don't have to manually select it each time. So I'm going to go ahead and just assign it to my special projects fund. And then the next field here is for sub-account. So if you need to make this account a sub-account for whatever reason, all you have to do is check the box here and then enter in what the parent account should be for that account. All right, so once everything's filled out, go ahead and click on Save. So now under my income category, under my new other income group, here is my new income account for 4050 miscellaneous income, and then here is the fund that it's assigned to. So a pretty simple process there. All right, so once you have your chart of accounts all set up, then the next spot you're going to want to come to is the starting balances page here. And so the starting balances page, this is where you're going to tell us what your beginning balances are for your accounts. So as you can see going down the page, there's going to be a list of all of your asset and liability accounts that you've set up. And then going across the page are going to be columns for each of the funds that you've set up as well. And so how this would look to enter your balances in, so let's say in my checking account here, I have a beginning balance of $2,000, but that $2,000 is split out between multiple funds that I have. So what that would look like, as I've shown here, is $500 goes towards my general fund, $200 towards my big event fund, $500 towards building, $600 towards special projects, and then $200 towards missions. All of these amounts totaling out to $2,000 here. And so this way, when I start working in the software, all of my balances are going to be correct. So if you need to split out your beginning balances like I just shown, then you can go ahead and do it like that. Otherwise, if it just all falls under one particular fund, you can just plop your total amount under the correct column for you. All right, moving back up this list now, I just want to talk really quick about another feature we offer, which is called custom tags. And custom tags are just another way to further categorize your transactions so that you can see more detailed information on your reports. So for example, let's say that you've created a fund in the software that's called ministries. And so you actually have a few different ministries within your organization. Let's say that you have a women's ministry, a men's ministry, and a children's ministry. And so that ministries fund that you set up earlier is keeping track of all of those ministries so you can pull a report and see overall how everything's doing. Well, what you can do in Aplos as well is you can set up custom tags for each of those individual ministries. And once you apply the particular the appropriate tags to the appropriate transactions, you can run reports later on based off of those tags. So you can see individually how your women's, men's, and children's ministry are all doing, both together and separated. So a handy feature if that's something you're looking to do. All right, next up is the budgeting module. So we do offer the ability for you to create a budget within the software. So when you get here, all you have to do is click on the Add Budget button at the top of the page, enter in the year that you're going to be creating the budget for, and then click Add. And once you do, you're going to be taken to the next screen that looks similar to this. All right, and so once you get to this Manage Your Budget screen, it's going to give you a list of all of the income and expense accounts that you've set up in the software. And so you can enter in your annual budget amounts in the column designated for the year budget. And so once you do, just click into the appropriate field, put in your annual amount. Again, this is for the annual budget amount. If you are an organization that likes to do things on a monthly basis, and so you just want to set up a monthly budget, then you can actually check the box at the top of the page here for Show Monthly Breakdown. And that's going to open it up to show you all the months within your fiscal year so that you can just click into the appropriate month and put in the designated budget amount for that month. All right, going down the list again here, we're going to jump to this other feature we offer, which is the ability to generate 1099s from the software. So if this is something you're looking to do, there's a couple things need to be done in order to generate those. The first option here is to manage your 1099 tags. So when you click on this button, it's going to give you a list of all of your expense accounts that you've set up, and also across the page are going to be columns for the different areas for the 1099. For what you want to do from here is just map out your expense accounts to the appropriate columns, and so this way the system will be able to keep track of what expenses need to be tracked for the 1099. The second step is to come under Contacts into this List section, which I'll go into more details in a second here about. But under this list section, we create a group for you that's called 1099 vendors. And so if you click into that group and then click on the plus mark icon, you'll want to add the vendors that you want to generate 1099s for. And so this way, once you've added those vendors, then the system also knows who to keep track of in the software so that we can generate the appropriate 1099s for them. All right, so since we're in the contact section, I'm going to jump up to the top of this list for contact list first. So in Aplos, you are going to have one contact area in the system. And so this contact area is going to handle both your accounting contacts, as like your vendors, as well as your donor contacts in the software. So it's just going to be one contact database with all of your contacts listed here. If you need to add a new contact, you can use the plus mark icon here to create that new contact. And then if you click on the caret icon here for extra actions, you'll have some more options available, such as the ability to import contacts. So if you have your information on an Excel file and you want to import it into Aplos, you can do it that way. If you want to export the information you have in Aplos, then you can use this export option to do so. And then if you want to search the database for duplicate contacts, you can use this tool here, which will search for duplicates and merge them together if you like. All right, so going back to this list section, so you also are able to create lists, which are essentially contact groups for your organization. And so if you wanted to create a new listing of people, then you can click on the plus mark icon on the upper right-hand side, and then click the new static list option. This dynamic list option won't be available for those on the standard plan. This is only available for those who upgrade to our new donor management platform. But the static list, so you just click on new static list, you'll give that list a name, a description, and then once you click create, that's going to make the list available so that you can start entering your members into that list. All right, and then the last field under contacts here is the ability to create custom fields. So if you keep track of additional information for your contacts that we don't already have a field for, you can come to this custom field section and then create the appropriate field so that you can still keep track of that information. So items such as maybe an ID number of some kind or a birthday or anniversary date, things of that nature. All right, so now we're going to jump down on this main list to the transactions area. So let me show you how you would enter in transactions in the software. So there are going to be a few different ways to do that. And so the first page we come to here is the register screen. And the register is probably going to be the primary place that you come to enter in your transactions. When you get to this page, the first thing you're going to do is come to the very top and you're going to select which register you're going to be working within. So in this case, let's say I want to work within my checking account. So I'll select my checking. And then once I have that selected, I'm going to drop down to this add deposit payment area where I'm going to enter in the details for my transactions. So let's say that today, June 13th, let's say I went to Target. All right, and let's say I bought supplies. So bought supplies. All right, and let's say that I spent maybe $100 at Target because you can never just buy one thing at Target. And then I didn't pay by check, so I'm going to leave that blank. And then in the account field here, I'm going to select my appropriate expense account, which is going to be my supplies expense. All right, as far as the fund that's going to be associated here, I'm going to select my general. And then if I had a custom tag that was applicable for this entry, I could enter that in from the tag field here. But once all my required fields are filled out, then I'm going to go ahead and click submit. And then if it posts successfully, then it's going to land down here in this transaction history area below. So as you can see, there's today's date, my payee, the expense account I used, the comment I left, the payment I made, and the remaining balance within my checking account. If I ever need to go back to one of these previously recorded entries and make some changes, then I can just click on the entry down here, and that's going to open up the details for that entry so I can click in and make whatever changes are applicable. And then if I wanted to get rid of the transaction altogether, then there's a little trash can icon here I can use to quickly delete that from the system. As far as splitting transactions in the software, there is a split option next to the submit button there. So if you click on split, it's going to give you a similar entry form to fill out, but at the very bottom, you'll have an option to add another row to the transaction so that you can perform the appropriate split for your entry. And then if entering things in manually just isn't your thing and you'd like to do something a little bit quicker, we also do have a manual import option available for you to use as well. So if you click on this import option here towards the top of the page, this is going to take you to the manual import screen. And what you'll want to do from here is you'll want to download our transaction template that we offer here, copy and paste your transaction data onto that template, and then upload it to this manual import page. If all of your information is filled out appropriately, you'll see a list of available transactions to import, such as the ones shown here at the bottom. And then if you wanted to import an individual transaction, just click on the import option, which will just move that one transaction into the system. Or you can check the boxes on the left-hand side and then click import selected, which will move multiple transactions into the system for you. All right, jumping back to this list now, the next screen we're going to take a look at here is the journal entry screen. So the journal entry page, this is just another way for you to enter in transactions in the system. From here, what you would do is put in the date of your transaction, add a memo for the transaction, and then select the appropriate accounts and funds for your entry. One of the major differences from here is that you'll have to manually debit and credit your accounts for the entry. So the register automatically does it for you, which makes it a little bit different than the journal entry page here. But if you're familiar and comfortable with that process, you're definitely more than welcome to use this journal entry screen. From the journal entry area as well, you can perform fund transfers in the system. So let's say within my checking account, I need to move money between my general fund and my missions fund. So it's not necessarily extra income that I'm receiving. I just want to reallocate the money within my checking account from general to missions. So in order to do that, what I would do is click the Start New Fund Transfer option, and I'll come to this screen as you see here. I'll put in a memo for the entry. I'll put in the date of my transfer, which asset or liability is the transfer happening within. So I'm going to say my checking account. How much do I want to transfer over? So let's say 100. And the source fund, so where the money is going to be coming out of. So let's say the general. And then the target fund, where it's going to be moving to, my missions. And then I would just click transfer. And once I click transfer, that's going to automatically allocate that money between my general and my missions fund for me in my checking account. All right, the next tool we're going to take a look at here is the accounts payable section. And so this allows you to create bills in the software, primarily for bills that you are going to be making payments on over time. So at the very top, you'll enter in the details for your bill. Once that bill has been created, then it's going to land down here in this pay bill section. So once you are ready to make payments towards that bill, you just find the appropriate bill, put in the amount you're going to pay and the payment date. And then once that's filled out, you can either click the Pay Bills option, which will just record the payment entry in the software, or you can click Pay Bills and Print Checks, which will record the payment as well as allow you to print out a check for that transaction. And once your bill has been paid off, then it's going to land down here at the bottom in this History/Close section. All right, now accounts receivable, this is the other way around. So this is if you've invoiced someone and they're going to be making payments to you over time. So at the very top of the page, you'll set up the details for that invoice. Once it's been created, it's going to land down here in this receive payment section. When you find the right invoice, you'll just put in the amount you're going to be receiving and the receive date. And then you can click the receive payment button at the bottom to record that entry. For your invoices that you create, you can also print them out or email them, so you can give those to the appropriate people. So once you've created your invoice, you can click on the boxes in the select column for whichever ones you want to send out, and then you can click the appropriate option, so the print option or the email option. And then once those invoices have been all paid off, then they're going to land in this History/Close section at the bottom. All right, next up, we're going to look at the bank integration tool. And so bank integration, this is another time-saving tool that we offer, which allows you to connect your bank account with your Aplos account. And so this is so if you connect your bank successfully to Aplos, then you'll see a screen that looks similar to this to manage your transactions on. So the source here is where you're going to select which bank account you want to retrieve the most recent transactions from your bank for. And then on the other side here is the target area. So this is where when you're ready to import your transactions, this is where you're selecting which register account these transactions should be imported to. All right, and so once you click Retrieve Transactions, it's going to bring over the most recent entries that have posted at your bank. And so you'll see a list of available transactions to import below. It's very similar to the manual import screen that we looked at earlier. So with the bank integration tool, we are able to bring over the majority of the information, such as the date, check number if applicable, any notes or memos, payee names, and amounts. The only information we don't bring over are the account and fund information. So you'll still need to manually fill those fields out for your entries. But once you have everything filled out, then you have the same options as I mentioned with the manual import page. You have the import button on the right-hand side to quickly import one transaction at a time. Or you can check multiple transactions off and then click the import selected to move multiple at a time. All right, so just another handy tool there in case you want to use that. The next tool here is the bank reconciliation tool. And so bank reconciliation, this allows you to make sure that everything in your Aplos account is accurate with what your bank account is showing. So essentially, this is a checks and balances system to make sure that you don't have any duplicates in Aplos or any missing transactions, or you haven't recorded something incorrectly in the system. So a very handy tool there just to make sure that everything is in good standing and flows correctly with what the bank statement shows. All right, the last page here is the check print page. So as I mentioned earlier, you are able to print out checks for your transactions if you like. When you come to this check print page, you'll see a list of your available transactions that you can print a check for. All you have to do is just check the box for whichever transactions you actually want to print a check for. enter your starting check number, and then click print. Once you click print, it's going to download a PDF file to your computer with all the transaction details for that entry. For your checks, you will need to have some pre-printed information on them, such as your banking information and your organization's information, but we'll provide the rest as far as the transaction details. And as far as what type of checks we currently support draft or voucher style checks, such as shown here by these example images. If you don't have these checks available, then you can use the link here, and this will take you to our preferred providers page, Dynamic Systems, where you can purchase your checks from there. All right, so before I come to reports, I want to jump real quick to this payroll option below. So as I mentioned earlier, we are partnered with Gussto Payroll. They are a full service payroll provider, and they're a wonderful solution if you're looking for someone to help you with your payroll. If you get in touch with them and tell them you're an Aplos customer, you actually get 3 months of service for free, which is also a really great deal. So if payroll is something you're looking for, definitely reach out to Gussto and see how their team can help you out. If you already have a Gussto account, then when you come to this payroll link here, you'll want to go ahead and just link your Gussto account by using the login option below. All right, so jumping back up to the reports page here. So once you have your transaction activity going on, you're going to want to pull reports. So when you come to this reports page, you're going to see a list of all of the available reports you're able to generate. We're going to go ahead and just take a look at a couple today. So the first one we're going to look at is the balance sheet report. And so the balance sheet just gives you a quick snapshot view of where your assets, liabilities, and equity accounts stand as of a certain date. So as of today, here are the balances for my accounts. If I want to see kind of the breakdown for these amounts that are showing, I can just click on the amount, and that's going to take me to the transaction list report where I can see the details and the breakdown for what makes up that total amount. And going back to the reports here, and the next report we're going to take a look at is the income statement report. And now the income statement, this is your basic profit and loss report, what's come in and what's gone out as of a certain date range. So most of the reports in Aplos do run off of a date range rather than an as of date. But if you need to change the dates around, you can come to the upper left-hand side here, and you'll select from either the preset options, such as this month or last month, or this year, last year, or you can select a custom date range as well if you like to. So you can just select the appropriate dates there and click apply. And the last thing I wanted to show you here on the reports page is these blue buttons that go across the top of the page. So the first one here for share, this allows you to email your report directly from the software if you like to. So from here, you would just select which format you want the report to be in. So either some type of Excel file or a PDF file. And then from there, you just select where the emails are going to be coming from, where the reply to should be sent. And in the send to area, you can go ahead and either select a contact or even a list that you already have in the software, or you can just simply type in the email address for that individual. And then you can, once you're ready to send it out, just go ahead and click the share option, and that'll send it right out to those individuals that you designated. The next option here is the save option. So if you have a report that you've made a lot of customizations to, and you want to keep using the report in that way, then you can click the save option, and that'll save the report as you have it, so that when you come back to the reports page, it will have a saved reports option to find that saved report that you made and quickly access it. And the last two options you have here are the print option, so in case you want to print out the report, or the download option in case you want to export that information. All right, and the last option here under the accounting side I want to show you guys is the advanced settings option. So with advanced settings, all those modules that I talked about, such as accounts payable, receivable, integration, reconciliation, if you want to disable any of them because you think you're not going to use them, you can come to this area and just click hide, and that'll disable it from the account. On the other hand, if there's something that is disabled that you want to enable, just click show, and that'll enable it on your Aplos account. All right, but what is different about the advanced settings as well is you do have an additional tool here that you can use, which is the period close option. If you click go, that's going to take you to the period close management page. So in case you are wanting to lock down your books up to a certain date in the system, then you can come here and shut everything down to that point. So for example, if you're wanting to close everything down up to let's say 2017 to close out the year, then you can click December 31st of 2017, click close period, and that's going to lock everything in the system up to that date. Once you do that, you won't be able to go back to any of your previously recorded entries to make any changes or add anything new to that period. So it completely locks it all down. But in case you are maybe you did make a mistake and you want to go back in, you can always reopen a closed period if you like to. And then also just to mention again, this advanced settings area is only going to be available to administrators on the account. All right, so we've made it through the first section for accounting. So let's go ahead and jump through to the donation section next. So under donations, the first place I'm going to take you to here is the purposes screen. So just like the chart of accounts was for the accounting side, the purposes are pretty much the chart of accounts for the donations area, where the purposes are the backbone of the donation side of the system. In short, what purposes are just reasons why people are giving to your organization. So whether it be tithes and offerings, whether it be a fundraiser that you're having, any kind of reason why people are giving to your organization, those are the items you're going to want to set up as purposes in the system. And now these purposes, although they keep track of donations, you can link them to an income account and a fund so that two things are done when you record your donation. One, your donor gets the appropriate credit for their donation, and two, an accounting entry is automatically recorded for you for that donation so that you don't have to worry about going back to the accounting side to manually record a new transaction. All right, and so as far as creating a new purpose, let me go ahead and show you just real quick what that would look like. You would start by clicking the Create New button and then enter in the name for your purpose. So let's just go ahead and call this Dog Fundraiser. All right, and then if you wanted to, you can give this purpose a new description. And then underneath that is where you can select the appropriate income account and fund that you want tied to this purpose. So let's say for this new purpose, I'm going to link it to my new miscellaneous income account and my special projects fund. If I had a custom tag that was also applicable for this purpose, then I can go into the tag field here and enter that information in. But once everything I like is filled out, just go ahead and click Save. So now under my list of purposes, there is my new purpose for Dog Fundraiser. And then if it's linked up successfully to an income account and fund, then you'll see this blue chain link icon on the right-hand side here. If you see either this broken black link or a red exclamation mark, that's letting you know that the purpose you have isn't linked up successfully. But once your purposes are all ready to go, then the next thing you're going to want to do is enter in your contributions. So we'll go to this contributions page on this list and then start by clicking Create Deposit. So that's going to open up this batch entry window where I can enter in the details for my deposit and my individual donations that I received. So let's say that maybe I went to the bank today to deposit some donations I received from this past Sunday. So at the very top of the page here, I'm going to list the deposit date. So let's say today. And then this next field here is for the batch name or deposit name. So just a personal identifier so you can recognize where these donations are coming from or going towards. So something like a fundraising dinner or Sunday offering. In this case, I'm going to say donations for Dog Fundraiser. All right, and so once I have my name in there, I can go down and enter in an additional description if I like to, but that is an optional field. So once everything required is filled out, I can come to the bottom here and start entering in the details for the individual donations I received. So in the first field here, this is going to be the donation date that I'm selecting. So these donations came from this past Sunday, so I'll say the June 10th. And then if this donor paid by check, or if they left a note for your organization that you'd like to mark on the donation, you can enter that information in this note check column here. Next to that is the donor field. So this is where you're going to enter in the name of your donor. So let's say that this particular donor was John Doe, and John Doe gave to my dog fundraiser purpose. And let's say that he gave $20. Now, if these next two columns represent NTD or non-tax deductible amounts, so if any portion of the amount that the donor is giving is supposed to be marked as non-tax deductible, you can designate that from these next two columns here. If it's only a partial amount, so let's say that maybe John paid for a t-shirt that was worth $5, which is included in this $20 amount, then I'm going to put $5 in this NTD amount column, which will tell the system that out of this $20, $5 of it should be marked as non-tax deductible. On the other hand, if the entire $20 is supposed to be non-tax deductible, then you can check the box under NTD, and that'll tell the system that the entire amount is NTD. All right, the next column here is for expense amount. So if there are any expenses that have been applied to this donation, most commonly with online donations that have transaction fees that get applied, you can enter in that expense amount in this particular column. So let's say that if John paid online, there was a 30-cent fee that went along with it. So let's say here I have 30 cents, enter that in. And so once I enter an expense amount there, then I also have some options here to select the appropriate expense account and expense vendor. So when that accounting entry is posted for me, the expense is properly recorded as well. Go ahead and take that out. And so this last column here for status, this won't be available for those on the standard plan either. This is just going to be for those who are under the new donor management platform that we offer. So you don't have to worry about this last column. And then as you can see, as I was entering the details for my first donation, another line popped up underneath so I can continue entering in more donations if I need to. Alternatively, you can also click the add another row option to add more lines onto this entry, on this batch entry. But once you have all your donations filled in, you can go ahead and select which bank account you'd like the accounting entry to deposit to. So let's say this is going towards my checking account. All right, and I have everything filled out, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Save. And so sort of like the register, if it posts successfully, you'll see the details for your entry in this sort of transaction history list. So there is the batch date that I gave, there's the name of my deposit, how many contributions it consisted of, how many contacts it consisted of, the total amount, and then if I click update, that's going to take me back to the donation details so I can review that information. All right, and then as I mentioned also, with the purposes being linked to the income account and fund, an accounting entry is automatically recorded for you. So as you can see here, it says accounting transaction. If I click on this link, it'll take me to the register so I can see the details for that deposit that was recorded for me. All right, and then once you're done looking at this and you want to go back to the donation details, there is going to be a line here for source contribution with your batch name. And if you click on that link, it'll take you right back to the donation details. All right. And so speaking of donations, you are able to receive donations online through Aplos as well, if that's something you're interested in. So what that would require you to do is to set up some online forms as well as create a wepay account. Wepay is the company we use to process those donations, which is why we would need you to create an account with them as well. But the online donations ability is completely free, so there's no extra charge to create those forms or set up the wepay account. However, there are transaction fees that do get applied for those who use the online donation tool. And so if you are a registered 501c3, those fees are going to be 3% plus 30 cents for most major credit cards like Visa or MasterCard, 2% plus 30 cents for ACH payments, so like an e-check where your donor would put in their banking information, and then 4.1% plus 30 cents for those who use American Express or international credit cards. So again, if you're a 501c3, it's 3% plus 30 cents for credit cards, 2% plus 30 cents for the ACH, and then 4.1% plus 30 cents for the American Express or international cards. If you're not a 501c3, that's definitely fine. You can still use the online donation functionality. Just keep in mind that those transaction rates I mentioned are going to be 1% higher, or excuse me, they're going to be 1% higher of what I just mentioned. But as far as online forms go, let me go ahead and show you what your options are for those. So with the online forms, you're able to create both a donation form and a donation widget. The differences between those two is that a donation form is essentially a web page that you're creating. So when you provide your donors with a link to that form, it's going to redirect them to a new web page, which will have your form on it. So it'll look something similar to this. Let me go ahead and show you. So this is an example of what an online form would look like. So you have your organization's logo at the top, the title of your form, a picture and some text, and then the information that your donors are going to fill out. So first and last name, email, telephone, address. If you want to set up some preset donation amounts, you can do those as well. Or you can allow your donors to give a custom amount. Your donors also have the option of choosing between a one-time gift or a recurring gift if they like to. You can also give your donors the option to choose which purpose they'd like to give towards. If you'd like, you can have your donors leave a note for your organization, and then your donors also have the option to pay for the transaction fee, which you can also enable on the form or take off if you like. And I didn't mention this earlier, but with the information that your donors fill out, you can also even add custom fields that you've set up to this online form. So in case you'd like your donors to fill out that information as well here. All right, so that's what an online form would look like. If you wanted to set up a widget, and so a widget is really it's the same process of the online form where your donors would still fill out that information. The only difference is that what will happen, you place a button for the widget on your website, which will just open up the pop-up and it won't redirect them away from your website. So let me just show you real quick what that would look like. So here is my test website. And so help save the puppies. And so if you wanted to donate to me, you would just click on this donate button that I've left here. And then that's going to open up this widget, which my donors can select the amount they want to give, and then one time of recurring, the purpose, a note, if they'd like to pay for the fee, and then they can continue on to put in their personal information and their payment information. So again, just opens it up so that they don't actually leave your website, whereas the online forms redirects them from your website to a new web page. All right. But once you do start receiving online donations, and you can utilize these next two pages here. So the first one for online donations, this is going to show you a list of all donations that I've either processed or attempted to process, whether they're one-time or recurring. And then the recurring donations page, this is going to show you a list of all of your recurring donors that you currently have. All right, and so as far as your donor contacts and the reports you want to generate for donations, those are all going to be in the same area as we looked at in the accounting side. So if I go to contacts, contact list, that's going to take me to the same contact list that we looked at earlier. So pretty much what you have here are just two ways of getting to the same information. So contacts and for reports will both redirect you to the same pages. All right. And so here we are back at the dashboard screen. And so thank you for sticking around. But yes, we've finally gotten through everything that's included within the standard version of the software. So what I'm going to do right now is just put myself on mute for a few minutes. And then during that time, go ahead and start submitting your questions in the question section. And then when I come back, we'll go ahead and get started with the Q&A. All right. So thanks, everyone. And just hang on tight. I'll be right back. All right, thanks for hanging on, everybody. So I am back now, and I see a lot of questions coming through, which is wonderful. So let's go ahead and get rolling through these. So the first question I'm seeing here, can I add last year's actual balance in the budget for this year? For this first year, we are using Aplos. So yes, you are able to add in your actuals for last year if you'd like to. You wouldn't be able to do it from the budgeting module if that's what you're asking, but you can enter those actual amounts into the system. So what we would recommend doing in that case, probably if you don't want the actual transaction history, you just kind of want the total amounts, would be to do a trial balance in the software. That's a little bit more of a lengthy process to explain. So let me go ahead, and what I'll do is email you kind of a resource that goes over how you would properly do a trial balance to get those actual amounts in there. All right. And so next up here, are there integrated email list functions that would allow you to use the contact list for emails under the standard version? So under the standard version, unfortunately, there's not an email functionality. However, in the upgraded donor management platform that I mentioned earlier, you do have an email functionality there that you can utilize for your list. Let's see. In the bank integration tab, will it recognize transactions that are already posted in the accounting module? Yes. So what'll happen if you're in bank integration and you have transactions that come through that you've already posted in the software? What'll happen is you'll see a red marker with an exclamation mark to the left of that transaction, and so that's going to alert you that, hey, this looks like something you already have in the software. Double check it to make sure it's not a possible duplicate, pretty much. So that marker is just kind of like a warning for you. In that case, if it is something that's already in the software, then you can actually, let me go back there real quick to show you. I don't think I have an example of one in my account here, but let's see. All right, so under bank integration, so you would see, I don't have any right here, but you would see a marker on the left-hand side, which would be the alert. From there, you can just click the hide option, and that will dismiss that transaction. And so it won't actually import it, it'll just dismiss it from this sort of pending page here. All right, let's see. We are currently using QuickBooks. Is there a way to migrate the data currently in QuickBooks to Aplos, or would it have to be manually done? That's a great question. So we are actually able to help you migrate your data from QuickBooks to Aplos if you like to. So that is another lengthy process. So I'm going to go ahead and just send you an email with the options that are available to do that. And then if anyone else is interested, just feel free to let me know in the question section. I'll go ahead and send you an email with the similar information there as well. All right, so next question here, are tags typically used to tag specific events such as a large fundraiser event, or is there a more efficient way to do this? So great question as well. So with the tags, so tags really are just meant, they can be used for large events such as that. So essentially the way that I recommend people using tags are if you have a sort of a short-term event, so not something that you do regularly, but just kind of like maybe a one-off event, that's something I would recommend using a tag for, since you don't have to commit it to the chart of accounts area. Because if you were to create something like that as a fund in the software, that's something that's going to be stuck in your chart of accounts that you won't be able to get rid of down the road if you wanted to. Whereas a tag is just something to help you keep track of that information without cluttering up your chart of accounts. So if it's something like a one-off event like that, or if it's a matter of you managing multiple items, so kind of like the ministries example I gave earlier, but in this case, let's say maybe you have a fundraiser fund that keeps track of all your fundraisers that you do, but then you can create custom tags for the individual fundraisers so you can see individually. So whether you're managing multiple items such as that, or if you just have those one-off events, those are items I would recommend using tags for in the system. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more clarity about best practices to use those tags. All right, let's see. Also, we use CCB, Church Community Builder. I see you are partnered with them. Is there a specific training webinar that shows how the two can be integrated? So we don't have a webinar that goes over that, unfortunately, but we do have resources that go over the integration and what that process would look like. So let me go ahead and I will also send you information regarding that as well. All right, this one's kind of made up of a few, so let me clear this out here. All right, so we curious about PayPal donations integration. So we do have a way for you to integrate your PayPal accounts to record your donations in the system, but that is only offered in the donor management upgrade. So if that's something you're interested in, seems like a lot of you may be interested in the donor management upgrade, which is awesome. So if you are interested in that, there's actually a webinar tomorrow that one of our team members, Dan, great guy, who goes over that whole donor management functionality. So if you're interested in that, I definitely recommend signing up for one of his webinars, which are every Thursday. So keep a lookout for that. But let's see what else is here. Automated email receipts for donor contributions. Customizable. All right, so let me just answer two things there. So if you use the online donations functionality, receipts are automatically sent out to your donors that donate to you. So once someone makes a donation, they'll automatically get a receipt saying, thank you so much for your donation to this organization. If you need anything else, please let us know, yada, yada. As far as making those receipts customizable, with the donor management upgrade, you are able to customize those receipts a little bit. So there's still some jargon on there that has to stay on there for legal purposes, but you are able to kind of go into those receipts and add on to that information if you'd like to, and customize it a little bit. Let's see. Max number of donor contacts in the system, the works package. Okay, so yeah, definitely it sounds like you're interested in the donor management upgrade. So I wouldn't be able to talk much into that, but like I said, if you join the webinar tomorrow with Dan, or if you want to give our support team a call, we'll be more than happy to kind of explain that the details for that package more for you. Let's see. Okay, so this one is, can you integrate / import GiveSmart event donation data into Aplos? So we don't have any type of integration with GiveSmart, but what you can do, and if you want to use an outside donor provider of any kind, you will just need to manually enter that in for the standard version. If you have the donor management upgrade, there is an option to import those donations into the system if you like to. All right, and then the last question here. What is the additional cost for the donor management module? So a great question as well. So the donor management module, it's based off of how many donor contacts you have in the system. So that upgrade starts out as $45 if you wanted to pay monthly. If you wanted to pay annually, then it would be around $40 a month that you'd be paying. But for more information about that, definitely give our team a call or check out Dan's webinar tomorrow, and we'll be able to answer those questions a little more in depth for you. All right, so that's the last question that I saw come through. So hopefully you guys got the answers you were looking for. But before we get going here, before everyone starts running away from me, I want to show you one quick thing here. And so back on your main menu, there's going to be one last option here that's titled Need Help. And so if you click on this Need Help section, this is going to take you to our Support Center page, which is where we keep all of our articles and tutorial videos that go over different tasks that you can accomplish in the software. So if you're looking for something such as how to set up your chart of accounts, you can start, let's just say chart of accounts. All right, if we go a few options down, there's an article for setting up your chart of accounts. So if I click on that, that's going to take me to a very detailed article that goes over how to set up my chart of accounts, along with some tutorial videos that go over that process as well. That should prove helpful. So with the Support Center, we do try to update our articles and videos regularly. So hopefully you're able to find the information that you're looking for. In case you need a little bit more clarity on something, or if you're not finding a resource that goes over the topic you're looking for help on, definitely feel free to get in touch with our team. Our support is always free for you guys, so never hesitate to give us a call or send us an email. We'll be more than happy to help you out. As far as how to get in touch with our team, you can give us a call at the 888 number that's listed here. We are available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can also email us at support@aplos.com. And then a third way to reach out to us is through this little messenger application in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. So if you click on that, it's going to open up this conversation window here. All you have to do is click New Conversation, and then you can start typing in your message to our team. Now, this isn't a live chat, unfortunately, but we do try to get back to these messages within the first hour. So if you are in need of any kind of help at all, just feel free to get in touch with our team, and we'll be more than happy to help you out however we can. All right, so I see a couple of people asking about the webinar tomorrow. Man, you're making me a little bit jealous that you're going to go to that webinar, but I'm glad you're going. So if you are interested, it is going to be tomorrow at same time, so 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then actually, for those of you who are asking, I'm going to go ahead and send you a link to the web so you can sign up for that webinar as well. So if anyone's interested, just put in that question section that you're interested in. I'll go ahead and shoot you an email with those details as well. All right, but that is the last thing that I have to show for you guys today. So again, thank you very much, everyone, for attending this morning. I hope you guys got a lot of information out of it. If you need anything at all, feel free to let us know, as I mentioned 100 times before. Again, thank you for coming, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Bye-bye.